Welcome back. Today, the theme for the daily model is treasure. So, let's start by deleting everything and let's begin. I think I'm going to be trying to make a treasure chest. To me, that's just what pops in mind when I hear the word treasure. So, we'll start off by creating the body of the chest, I guess. So I guess I didn't need to delete the cube, but here we are. I guess I should explain if anyone has ever watched multiple of these videos together, which I doubt, but I did receive my first comment on any of these videos a couple days ago, and it was an encouraging comment, so that was very nice. So shout out to you if you were the person who left that comment. Appreciate it. Anyways, these daily models are for a class that I'm taking at university. It's an animation class where we learn Blender, and there's a little bit of game design and stuff like that. As well, let's make this a little wider. And one of the assignments for the class, or I guess many of the assignments for the class, are these 20-minute models. So you're supposed to do it every day for, I don't know, a couple weeks. It's obviously not, you don't have to do it every single day. We get assigned kind of like a quota for how many we have to complete by the end of the semester. And so even though there's like a theme every day, if you want to do a model, in reality, it just works out to about 4 a week. So you can take every other day off practically, a little less than every other day off. Let's make the bottom a bit smaller, and then let's delete the top face. Sweet. So if you've ever seen where it says like daily model colon and then whatever I'm working on, that whatever comes after the colon is the for the most part usually what the theme is. That being said, every Saturday, or not Saturday, every Sunday, we have kind of like free builds where we can build whatever we want, and so that's always nice. Today is not one of those free builds, but if you ever saw like the normal distribution video or anything like that, ones that maybe seem a little more out of place, that's where they come from. Okay, so now we have kind of this body of the treasure chest. So this is where the treasure will go. I think what I would like to do is select all the edges. Is there any way to just select the edges and not the vertices, or not the faces? Would bevel work? Yeah, but I have to be very careful with it. Okay. I want to give some gold highlights on this treasure chest, and so I'm thinking that if we bevel, we can kind of make that happen. I think it would be nice to also add some loop cuts, if I can. Yeah, there we go. Oops, we want more than that. I think maybe 4 is, well, 3, so 4 blocks. That seems good to me. What does smoothness do? Oh, what? I didn't know that the loop cuts could actually mess with your geometry. That's kind of funky. Okay, yeah, let's go with that. So we have this now. At some point we'll add a lock, but I think what we can do now is move on to the top half of the chest. So what we want to do for that, we can call this cube treasure chest bottom. Let's now, in object mode, create a sphere, I guess? I think a sphere would work. We can move it up, but let's look at it from the side before we move it up. If we use control, we can get it like that, and that is going to be pretty nifty, I think. What we want to do now is move it along the y-axis. Let's move it beyond this for a second. Go into edit mode. So we basically just want one arc of this. So we're actually going to be deleting almost the entirety of the of this sphere. Maybe there is a better way of doing this, but this is just what first came to mind. So we take this, we go into vertex select mode, and delete all of these vertices. And then we delete all of these vertices. And then we look at it from this side and delete all the bottom vertices. And then what we can do to finish it off is select this vertice and connect them using the fill command. And now that we have all of that, we can go to edge select mode. We can let's select the sides, the loop, and then fill that in. And now that we have this, we can select here, and before we do that, actually, let's move you, not in that direction, in the Y direction, and we can get you basically in line. We can zoom in to make sure it's a better fit, but this is not going to be super important because at the end of the day, we're going to rotate the rim so you can see the all the gold inside. Let's move you right here. Okay, now that we have you there, we'll extrude, and we're going to extrude in the Y direction, and I think that's fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. So now we have this, which looks pretty nifty. I don't know why I made a ball. Looking at this now, it makes I feel like an idiot for not making a cylinder, but whatever, you live and you learn. Okay, let's go into this mode. This is obviously cylindrical shaped. Okay, and now we want to rotate around the Y-axis, kind of like that. And then obviously a treasure chest wouldn't be a treasure chest if the roof wasn't like on the right the edge like this. So I think this is kind of our main body of the chest. We could make this part concave, like have some extra room, but I don't think that's going to be the main focus. I want your eye to be drawn to the stuff that's in here. So I think this is good for now. Let's now make the lock on the front of the treasure chest. Now, obviously it makes sense for the lock to actually be here, where the top, the moving part of the chest meets the bottom, because we need it to like latch into place. There's other mechanisms you can use which will like, you know, lock it using slots in the side. But I just think aesthetically, treasure chests look best when the lock is in the middle. And so I'm going to put the lock there. I know it doesn't make sense like logistically, but I'm not worried about the logistics, at least for now. We're just making it to look good. And I'm sure it's not going to look good, but, you know, just to look even half decent. So let's go like this. I think that's about good for loop cuts. And we'll turn this guy into the key lock. So we can do is inset just ever so slightly. And then once we inset, we can move you out. Not out like that, out like that. And then somewhere on this face, we want to make a keyhole. Now, keyhole, I'm not trying to figure out a way to do this where it's not going to be horrible topology. So give me a second. I'm going to do my best here, but it might not be great. Actually, I don't think we want to go straight down because this is at a slight angle. So we're just going to freehand it. So I think if we go like that, then we can come here, go like that, connect you to here, go like that, connect you to here. And again, this is not going to be perfect, but it's not meant to be perfect, it's just meant to be good enough. There's some quote from like Da Vinci where he said, no piece of art is ever done, just finished, or like just, I shouldn't have quoted him if I didn't know the whole quote, but there's something where he was basically saying that, you know, there's always more work to be done on a piece of art if you want to work on it more. And this is certainly not high art or anything like that, but I think the same applies where it's kind of like, you know, we're just trying to make something that helps us learn. Like the primary purpose of these homework assignments is to get better at modeling. And so I'm not worried about having everything be perfect. I'm just kind of worried about trying to get it looking as good as I think is reasonable in the amount of time that we have, which is roughly 20 minutes. Of course, you can go over the 20 minutes, but I try not to go over by too much. I say as my last videos have been like each, I think almost 40 minutes, but I don't know, sometimes I get carried away. Okay, so I think you see what I'm doing here. Basically just trying to make sure that every time I add a new key, add a new vertice, that we're connecting it to the side, and so that we have roughly quads. Now there is a bit of a problem. I don't know if you can spot it. If you're a Blender expert, I'm sure you can, which is that now that we've connected some of these to the side, each of well, let's finalize this first, but each of these is now an n-gon, everything along the loop, because even though it looks like it's just a trapezoid, we actually have a vertice here, and a vertice here, and a vertice here, and a vertice here. There would be a way to fix that, which is to make edge loops that go around the whole thing, except it's not perfectly mirrored. And so when it comes back around, it won't meet up with this. So I'm trying to think if there's an easy way to kind of get around that. And because even if you just connect it to this wall, well, then these don't become n-gons, but then this becomes an n-gon, and this becomes an n-gon. So I think we can kind of just leave it, to be honest. I know that might make some Blender experts angry, and I agree that in general, like, worry about your topology, but for the purposes of just this assignment, I'm not too worried about it. Before we do that, let's go into X-ray mode. GX. No, not like that. I think actually we probably want to extrude instead of... Would that work? Extrude in the X direction? What does that look like from the front? Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted. Okay, so we have a keyhole now. That keyhole sticks very far into there, which is not exactly what I wanted. I think instead we can just kind of extrude it so that it's just barely sticking in, because it doesn't need to really be all the way. In fact, I think that will be more than enough. Because when we change the color of this interior section to black, it'll kind of create the illusion that it's deeper than it really is. Okay, we have now a keyhole, we have the chest body itself. Now let's create stuff that goes in the treasure chest. I think I'm just going to do coins for this part. Let's go into object mode. We have this, let's name this, I don't know, just chest top. Oh, that's not how you spell top. There's no R. Oh my god, I'm really struggling here. Okay, there we go. Let's now create a coin. I think the easiest way to create a coin would be to create a circle. Let's move this circle over so we can see it better. Let's size it down. Actually, let's not size it down quite yet. Let's fill in that circle. Oh, can you fill a circle? I could have sworn you can, but maybe not. Oh, we're not in edit mode. No wonder. I was going to say. Okay, let's now extrude you in this direction. And let's inset you. Actually, let's inset you on both sides. No. Let's just inset you on one side, and then we can add a mirror modifier. When we inset you, then we can extrude you down. And that kind of gives this like edge to the coin, like a little bit of texture. If you ever look at a real coin, like a quarter or anything, you'll see that the edge kind of has a little extra stick out, I think. Actually, I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I don't know. There's also ridges on the edge, so let's try and create kind of those types of edges, or those ridges. We can do that by doing something like this. If we make a lot of them, then we can select isn't there a way to select like every other checker deselect? That is not what I wanted. Why does it checker deselect like that? It only selects the bottom loop? Interesting. Okay. Let's instead go to this, go to maybe not L for that. If we go like that, no, like this, and then check or deselect. Oh, but let's unselect this first, and that, and that, that. And I'm sure, did we do the same thing on the bottom? No, because we were gonna mirror it. Okay, yes, here we are. If we check or deselect this, what do we get? Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. Now we do have an even number. I thought I made an odd number, but I guess that's because I had made an odd number of loops. Anyways, what I was kind of thinking of doing here is moving it inwards, so you get kind of ridges. But because of the number, well, okay, let's, I guess, just go back, keep going back. Where do we make these loops? Okay, now we're back here. Now if we make a loop, we can make sure that we make an odd number of loops. Or make sure that we have an odd number of segments, so an even number of loops. So right now we have 3, 6, 9. So that would be perfect. Oh my god, of course. 3, 6, 9. Yeah, 8 cuts. Perfect. Okay. Now, what we want to do is take you, and you. Select the edge loops that are associated with, oh. Okay. Shift, Alt, click, click, click. No, I clicked the wrong one. Okay. I think you see what I'm trying to do here, though, which is select these loops, every other loop, and then once we've selected those, inset them by just a little bit. For whatever reason, it's insetting along one of the axes. I just want to extrude normal. Like if I do this, then it like pops out over here. That's not what I want. What I want is to kind of move it in. Extrude faces along normal. Oh, yeah, perfect, okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted right here. Okay, and now we have these kind of ridges on the edge of the coin. We could try and put a face on the coin. I'm really not good at drawing faces, but we could do some other kind of fancy face stuff if we go like this. Just make a couple of insets and then we'll do some fun stuff with colors maybe. Anyways, I think this is pretty good. Select all of it. Nope, like that. Select all of it. And then add a mirror modifier. And the mirror should be the z-axis. So now if we go like this, it should be the same on the top and the bottom. They have these ridges down here. We now have, okay, I forgot that it was doubling the thickness, so we now have a bunch of ridges, but, you know, good enough. Now that we have everything, though, let's go back here. Let's make you a whole lot smaller. And now, what? Oh, because we made you smaller. Why does it not? Is there, oh, clipping? We don't want clipping. But, huh. But it lets me clip until they're together. Okay. Let's go back for a second then. I think what we can do first is if we size it down, but without sizing it down in the Z direction. So if we hit S to size and then Shift Z so that we're not doing this, we can do that again. I think because my mouse started so close to the center, can't size it down as much, but let's do it again. S, Shift Z. Okay, it really does not like sizing down. Okay, let's size you down to like 0.5. 0.5. And if you go to 0.5, do we now have that gap? No, we don't have the gap. What? Oh no, but they are on top of each. Are they? I think that means that they're. Oh, the note, is that from clipping? Let's happening here? Why is there only ridges on like part of it? I am confused. What is happening here? Okay, whatever. I think so that is because the center of mass of this object doesn't include the mirror modifier. But if we accept the mirror modifier by going into object mode, mirror apply, now that we've applied it, I think if we size it down, yes, okay, perfect. Sweet. Okay, now we want to make a bunch of coins. I haven't really had experience making like a bunch of objects. I made one like nigiri where I used some rice modifier to basically, not rice modifier, but I was making a bunch of rice that went like on the bottom of the sushi. And to do that, I made like another object, and then I basically made hair out of a piece of rice. So I'm wondering if I could do a similar thing here where I make kind of hair out of a single coin. Let's look for other solutions first. I'm pretty sure there's something called like an array modifier, which will allow us to generate a bunch of these. Okay, so that allows us to make a bunch, but they're not quite in like the shape that we would want. So there's a relative offset, which basically just tells us we're making it only in the x direction. Object offset, merge. That's not what we wanted, caps. No. Okay. I don't think the array modifier is the answer. It could be, but I kind of want a random assortment of them. Because obviously that will not do. I think we can make the coin a little bigger though. Let me see if I can remember how I did that hair thing, because it's been a while, but I think you move this out in the Y direction, and then, well, first we want to shape it so that it kind of fits in with this. So, size you down, move you over, look from the top, move you this way, back up in the Y direction, and we got this, move you up in the Z direction. Okay, and size you just generally down. Okay. I think something like this, right? Because ideally, well, this is a bit annoying, but we can fix that. That's just shifting in the X direction. I think we actually do want you to be a little bit bigger, but then we can move you along here. When you look into a treasure chest, if it's filled with treasure, you don't see the bottom of the treasure chest. And so my idea with this is that even if just the top is filled with like coins and whatnot, it should be fine. Before that, let's name this coin. I have my caps lock on. Okay. Now we want to use this, and this is where I forget. I'm pretty sure it's within particle. Is it hair? Don't think it's any of these. I am a bit lost. Can look it up, but I feel like that would take more time than it's worth for a 20-minute model. So I think what we can do instead here is we can make an array modifier. I think once you apply an array modifier, so first we want to do it in this direction instead of this direction. And let's, instead of doing 1, let's do like 1.1, so there's a little bit of a gap between the 2 coins. Let's move you over to here. I think what I'm going to do is just make a bunch of coins, and once I made the coins, I'll just like click on them and kind of rotate them randomly without much thought to it. So we'll go like this. 11 seems like it's good. Although, is this clipping? I think it's clipping over here ever so slightly. Yeah, it is. Is it clipping over here, or how much extra space do we have if we have extra space? We do have a bit of extra space. Are you still clipping? Yes. That's annoying. What if we just reduce the count to 1 and then it's a much easier solution. Okay, now let's move you in the X direction. Without color, it's a bit hard to see all of this, but that's fine. Okay, we created that. Now let's... Oh, fit curve. Hold up a minute. What if I make a curve? Okay, give it a sec. Let's go into object mode. We're already in object mode. Let's create a curve. Maybe just a path. Move you up. Rotate you along the z-axis. Don't have to be straight actually, but let's go like this. Okay, and then I think we'll take one of you at a time and kind of, if we're just looking at you from the side, what we can do is move you down, move you in. Oh wait, what am I doing? Let's move the whole thing down. Oop. Okay, we go here, so we're just on top of the coin. We'll take you and move you not the X direction, the Y direction, so you're here. And we'll move you, not E. Okay. There. Okay, now if we take all of these, we can move it the X direction. Oh, I guess we want more of these, so what we can do is SY, yeah, kind of clump everything up. And now all we want to do, I guess, is draw. Kind of like pick where we'd want coins to go. Before we do that, let's just use this as a sample, just because I want to make sure that I'm not wasting my time. If we have this with a fit curve, and then we sample it and choose our curve here. I don't see any extra coins here, but is that because this doesn't have a thickness yet? Because of this. Oh, you do see more for like a second as I change this value. Okay, like when it's small, you see a couple of these, but it's not really fitting to any curve that I can see. Okay, let's try a different technique. I think just kind of brute forcing it is not ideal, but I'm trying to figure out another way that we can do it. Fit length? No, because we want it to be two-dimensional. I guess we can have two array modifiers. Okay, what if we do this? Fit length. Well, in that case, why not just fit count, right? Because we already did this. Now we have that. Now we add another array modifier. Does that work? Yeah, it does. Okay. 1.1. Bang. we now have seemingly a chest full of coins. I would like for them to all be randomly rotated. I don't know if there's a way of doing that. It's not this, is it? Yeah, no, it's not that. What we can do is... Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do here. Oh, I have to apply the array mod. That's so annoying. I have to apply the array modifier before I can edit individual coins. Okay, that's fine. Let's do that, and then... Okay, now that this is applied, now can we select individual ones in object mode and edit mode? Yes, we can. Okay, let's now rotate. You know what we'll do instead? I mean, because this is going to take too long otherwise. We can just select kind of like a random assortment of separated coins. Oh, you can't use L on multiple? Oh, you can do it like this, though. Shift L? Yeah. Okay, that's kind of neat. I didn't know you could do this. And then this will let us kind of save up time, because every time we do a rotation... Oh, it doesn't... You gotta be joking me, man. Okay, that's very annoying. So it rotates around the center of mass of all of the coins instead of their individual center of masses. So when I rotate, what if I choose an axis of rotation? So, like, go like this, and we rotate, but we're only rotating around the y-axis. Oh, but then it's still the center of that. God, that's so annoying. Oh my god. Okay, what we can do, even, this still saves a little time, but it's obviously not ideal. L, L, L. Okay. If we rotate these along the y-axis, they all should rotate the same. So what we can do is make some like kind of patterns, but like random patterns, no rhyme or reason, where we rotate some of them along the y-axis like this, and some the other way. And then we'll do the same thing, but with the other axis, with the x-axis. And so we'll get like more random rotation, random looking rotation. Maybe this doesn't make sense right now, but I think once I start doing it, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. So for right now, we're just trying to change the axis of rotation along this y-axis, but then we'll switch to the x-axis. And so even though some of these coins look exactly the same right now, the idea would be that once we do some rotation maneuvering, they'll start having more differences. At least that's the idea. Okay. Let's turn you this way. Turn you that way. Okay. So now that we have this, we can look at this axis instead and say, hey, I want you, and you to rotate along the x-axis a little, like that, and then you to rotate along the x-axis like this. Now, I'm sure there's a better way of doing it, and maybe I'll look it up after I hop off this video, but this is kind of like what I'm going for right now, at least, just to... And I guess, I mean, previously I was only selecting coins once, but if you select this coin once and then kind of do it again with these, you're just adding more randomness. So I think that's fine. Like, let's do this, or not this one, and this one. Rotate you this way, and then we can use you, you, and you, and rotate you along the x-axis this way. Here we can use you, and you, and you. Rotate you like that, and you, and you. And I think this kind of gives a random-ish appearance. I wouldn't say it's perfectly random, but it's, I think you just need the illusion of randomness. You don't need actual randomness. And so I'm selecting some of these twice because if there's, for example, like these two coins next to each other, we don't want them ending up to look the same. So I'll select one of them for now. But then, to make sure that through randomness we don't end up with them the same, if you select both of them, now no matter what we do, since they're already offset, they're going to stay offset. So it's kind of just an insurance policy to make sure that nothing crazy happens. Likewise, you see how I rotated these two so that they're still the same, but now if we go back, select this in the next batch, now when we rotate, they're not going to be the same. So, I don't know, just some fun math. Okay, and we're almost done, so let's just kind of speed through this. I've taken too much time on this anyways, and we still haven't even added color, so that's a bit annoying. Okay, we have all this. Now what we can do, if we go to here, select all of you guys, and add, I was going to say add an array, but we don't even need to do that. We can just Shift D because we're only adding one. Whoa, that's very laggy. Maybe don't do that. Or maybe do. Okay. Okay. This is really testing my computer, but I think we only need to do it for like half a second more. I just want to rotate you like that so we get the extra randomness. And it's kind of at an extra angle, which I think actually might help. Kind of place you down like this. Kind of like it, but also kind of seems like it's floating. Do I dare duplicate it again? Uh-oh. Okay. Let's move you down just a bit. Now, even though we're going to have some clipping, it looks a lot more full. So I think that's fine. I should have colored the coins first. Oh my god, dude, that's terrible. Okay, whatever. Let's make some colors. I'm really worried that it's all going to crash now when I color this. Let's save this first then. Usually you don't see the saving process, but that's now you will. So go into 20-minute models. Here's all the models that I've made so far. This will be treasure. Call it treasure chest. Okay. We have saved you. There we go. Okay. Let's now add color. Add a new color. And it's going to be gold, because why not? I feel like coins are good in goldish colors. You're definitely metallic. I haven't seen many coins that aren't made of metal. And that looks pretty nifty, right? That kind of gives this cool treasure-like appearance. Okay, so we have the coins now done. Let's now go back to object mode, and I didn't ever make the bevels here. I want to select all the edge loops. So, no, you, and you. I guess, did I select this one? No. Okay. And now Control B. No, whoa. Not quite like that, like literally just barely bevel it. The idea again with these bevels is that we have these gold highlights to go in between the wood. Okay, I think we are ready for the next step. I really like these coins now, actually. I mean, I don't like how you can kind of see rows and columns, but because of the way I made it, that's just kind of how it is. And I'm sure there's a way you can add noise and randomness, but we'll learn that in the future. Only so many things at once. Okay, we're in the chest top, so let's create a new material. This one will be the gold highlight. So the coins are kind of like a bronze. I'm going to try and make this a little more yellow. Again, this will be metallic with a very low roughness, but this is, even though everything looks golden right now, it's not for that. It's just for these edges. We now want to make 2 more colors, and this is for 2 textures of wood. So we're going to have basically alternating wood pattern. So this is for, make it maybe the lighter of the 2 wood patterns. Yeah, something like that. You're not metallic at all, and you're pretty rough. So we're going to assign that to, if we go to faces, every other face here. The orange kind of select box shades kind of matches in a bit with this. And we'll do it with these 2. Oh, and then I forgot about these. Okay, there must have been an easier way to select everything I wanted to select, but here we are. You live and you learn. And let's just finish up selecting all of these. We have all of those now. So now we can go here and assign. Oh no, I didn't want to. Oh, God, dude, I didn't want to make these. What was I thinking? Is there any way to... Oh, okay. All right. This will work. Okay. Now if we assign it... Yes. That is much closer to what I was going for. Although we still need to add the second color. Sorry, I probably just gave you... If anyone has motion sickness, that probably was not very nice to you. Let's now select all of these. And we will make a new color for those, and this is going to be that darker brown. And put that roughness up as well. So now we have kind of the 2 types of brown, the lighter brown and the darker brown. I actually think I would want the sides to be the darker brown. Kind of makes it give it a more weathered appearance. Nice. We definitely want this to be brown. Okay, we have that, and now we can go back to object mode, and we want to go here. I think we want gold highlights again. So make everything golden to begin with, and then like what we did previously, we want to add another color. This color is going to be that darker brown. The darker brown will be for this edge loop and this edge loop, minus all of the highlights, which are going to stay gold. Oh, forgot these. So we can assign that. And then we want to go back. Oh, because of the solidify modifier. Okay, there's an easy-ish way to fix this. In fact, we don't need to even do anything to fix that. We just click on this edge and then add an edge loop. But we're going to add it like very close to the top. Like, let's try and make it roughly the same thickness as the other highlights. And then once we have this made, now we can select these faces, create this edge loop, and assign that to this material. And then once we've done that, now we have the brim of the treasure chest back to being gold, which is what I was going for. Nice. Okay, likewise, I think, no, we're not going to run into the problem on the bottom because of the, because we have the bevel already there. Okay, we just didn't bevel the top. So we need to now add the other material, the other brown material, which is a lighter brown, and that will be for this edge loop. Okay, luckily it doesn't select that. I don't know why it doesn't select that, but that is what I was going for. Yeah, and then get rid of these. Actually, I do know why it doesn't select that edge loop. It's because it's its own unique loop because of this part, the inset. Okay, let's assign you to you. And then we'll come to the keyhole. We'll add another material. This one's just going to literally be black. This is for the inside of the keyhole. And so you, and then I think if you do control and then plus on the numpad, yeah, it adds one vertice, or not one vertice, one face in every direction, which in this case is just in the direction of this. So we do that, we hit assign. Now that's all black, so we have this. And then what do we want the face of this to be? Oops, not you. We probably want that to just be a bit darker brown. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe we want it to be, I'm just thinking. I think that's pretty good actually. And then because we want to add some kind of like texture to this, or we don't want it to look gray on the inside with this. Why do we still have this nubs path? Okay, get rid of that. That cube needs its own color. I'm thinking like a dark, honestly the same color of the coins might be the move, because then you look down and it's like, well, what's the difference? Maybe if we can reduce or increase the roughness just for this one. So instead of using this material, can we copy? Is there a way to copy material? Can we, if we Control C plus Control V, no. I don't think that's what I wanted to do. Okay. Let's make a new material then. That's in that general vicinity of like bronzish colors, a little darker maybe. It is still metallic, but the roughness is higher. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Look at that. Here is our treasure chest. Any last fixes? Maybe we want to move the, yeah, just trying to get those two in contact. So take all of you, or go to object mode, select you, and move you down ever so slightly. Bang, bang, bang. Move you over. Is this the Y direction? Nope. This is the X direction. Hello? Oh, okay. I just can't see it. Kind of like that. The Z direction. That looks pretty good to me. Alright. There is our treasure chest. That took way longer than 20 minutes. Almost 50 minutes. But there you go. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.